If you walk through your front door and the first thing you see is tons of shoes on the floor, bags, coats, hats, everything that the household members come in with and they just dump on the floor, then this was me not that long ago, and I'm gonna share with you the 9 systems that we created in our house that literally changed the whole game. And I promise they're such simple things that you can do, so let's go ahead and dive right in. Number 1 is to have an inbox, and that means there's going to be an area to drop off keys and letters. That's kind of the things that you come in with, right, in your hands. So we're going to put letters. We've got this little letter box at our entrance where we keep all the letters, mail, anything that I need to address, birthday invites, although those I go through quite quick, so I take a picture of it, RSVP, and then put it in the recycling, and obviously put it in our calendar so I don't forget when it is. And I try to address letters and any sort of mail that comes through quite quickly, or at least when I see a few of them have piled up, then I know I need to go through them. I will not let this area get too big, because then if it piles on, it's just getting overwhelming, and then every time I pass that hallway, which is multiple times a day, then I will just feel stressed because I can see how much stuff, you know, I kind of have in the back of my mind that I need to do. And then you need a little drop-off area for your keys, for your purse, for your sunglasses, whatever you come in with that you just kind of throw somewhere, right? And this makes it super easy as well when you leave the house and you're trying to find your keys, find your sunglasses, find your purse, because statistically we spend a lot of time looking for stuff around the house, especially when our houses are overrun with clutter. System number 2 is an easy shoe storage at the door. We used to have this kind of big shoe shelf in under the stairs cupboard, but it wasn't really like close enough to the door, and a lot of them would just get piled on the floor. So now we have this little shoe rack that's very slim, so it doesn't take up too much space in our hallway, and we each have a little cubby. There's 4 of them, and we can put our shoes straight in there, and that's where all of our kind of daily shoes live. And then we have some extra, like if we have wellies or things like that that we don't use maybe on a regular basis, those we have a separate little storage area for, but it's not too big. Like we used to have so many shoes, we don't have that anymore. Oh, and I'm gonna give you at the end my biggest tip that actually made the biggest change out of everything that I'm gonna share with you today. The 3rd system is to create kids pegs where they can put their coats on, and I used command hooks for this. They are honestly brilliant. We had them in our previous house, which was a rental, and they work really well. Even if you stick them on a door or on a wall, they won't leave a mark when you take them off. It's been tested and tried by myself, so it really works. It doesn't ruin your walls. It's perfect if you're in a rental, or even if, you know, we own our house now, but we still like to use those because I don't want to be painting, you know, walls and covering up holes if I want to move things around. We use 2 command hooks on the door, and they are kind of lower level where kids can reach, because we used to have just a lot of hangers for our coats, like our grown-up ones, and I used to put the kids ones there as well, but then I realized they can't actually put their coats back where they belong, because obviously what kid is going to go and take a hanger that's really high up and put their coat nicely on a hanger? No one's going to do that, right? But if it's a command hook that's really close to them and it's really like at their eye level, they can reach it, then they're much more likely to go and put their coat there. And I do find my son's been so good at doing this as well. I'm not saying he always does it, but most of the time he does, and it's a massive help. Number 4 is to use command hooks as well for bags and backpacks. I have done this in our under the stairs cupboard. This is where we kind of store all of these things, right? Coats, backpacks, bags, things like that. So I've put a few hooks on there. I might add some more for our backpacks, because if they're just lying on the floor, it's not ideal. It looks really messy. You're gonna stumble upon them. When you go to Hoover, it's really annoying because they're all on the floor. So having a hook for them to put their backpack on is really handy. And it's also helpful when they go to school. They know where to grab it from, or you know where to grab it from to put their lunchbox in and get it ready for the day. System number 5 that has been life-changing is to have a command center for the whole household. And we keep this under the stairs as well, just because I find it's a really good space for that. And I just recently bought 2 whiteboards. They're kind of smaller ones. They were very inexpensive and they are really handy. On one of them I put my son's morning checklist, so he knows what he needs to do in the morning, like make bed, brush teeth, get dressed, everything like that he needs to do before school or just before we start our day. And then at the bottom I put another one where we keep any school things that we need to remember, because honestly they change so much, so many school emails. If you're a mom as well, I feel like I need a personal assistant just to keep up with the school emails, but I find that it's really helpful to do which day is PE day. If you're not in the UK, PE is just physical education, you know, sports. So which day is PE day, library book day, for school, when they need to take their homework in, everything like that, I need to put it on there, because in the morning, if I need to remember, oh, what has he got on today, I can quickly go there and have a look. That's super helpful as well, and he can see it too, so he knows what's coming up that day. And being a whiteboard, I can always change it really easily if I need to. The next system is to have a place to throw in scarves, hats, gloves, all of those little things that we wear that kind of get thrown around, right? If they have a spot to go, even if your kids do it or you do it, then it's gonna make it so much easier to tidy up. I do find that if you give everything a home, right, a space where it belongs, then it's gonna make it so much easier to tidy, because you just know where it's gonna go at the end of the day. We have this big basket that we keep under the TV, and that's where we throw in all of our hats, scarves, and accessories like that. And then we have another basket like this, which is gonna be the next system, and this is what we use for school papers. Now, my son brings in things like homework, his notebook, you know, any kind of drawings that he's done, everything like that. You know, when they come in from school and they have this big bunch of papers and you don't know what to do with them, so they get thrown around on surfaces. Well, if you have a spot for them to go, then that's not going to happen. And then when you get a chance and you need to go through them, you always know where they all are, so you can quickly go through if you need to. So all of those go in this basket under our TV, and I find it a really good system to keep a bit more order in the house. Another system I created recently, which is honestly one of the most satisfying things I did probably, is to create a charging station. Now, this drawer that we had in our under TV unit was a mess. Just cables. It was the place where I would put my laptop in to charge, the iPad, my camera that I'm filming on right now, everything like that, but it was all a mumble jumble. So I took them all out and I got a few systems to organize this. One of them is using a letter box, like the one that I showed you at the entrance, exactly like that. I use that to put my laptop, iPad, and everything just kind of facing up, because it's much easier to have them like that rather than laying on top of everything in the drawer, if you know what I mean. Another thing I got is just this little cable organizer that I stuck on the side of the drawers, and that's really nice to put all the chargers there, so they're easy to find when I'm looking for them. And for all the cables that are kind of, you know, just laying on the bottom of the drawer, I got these little ties to tie them up so that they're not all over the place and getting tangled up. And that's just a really good area to have as a charging station. So when I need to charge my phone, charge the iPad, whatever it might be, they all go in there, and everybody else in the household can do that as well, because they know where they belong. They always know where a charger is, because that's the charging station, right? And then I also created a nappy changing station. Now, if you don't have a baby, you might not need nappies, but you might need other things like sun cream or just anything else that you use in your daily routine. So for us, as we have a baby, we do need a nappy changing station. So I've got this little felt basket from Amazon a while ago, before my baby was born, and I've got nappies, wipes, you know, bum cream, everything like that that I need on a daily basis. I've also got bibs, so it's a really handy area just to have on hand, and it's also really easy to tidy it up and pop it back in the drawer, so it's not like, you know, nappies and wipes laying around the place all the time. And then the last tip that I have for you, which, as I said, it's probably the biggest game changer of all, for any of these systems that I just shared with you to actually work, you would have to do this one thing first. And that is, let me know in the comments below if you can guess, but I've mentioned this before a million times probably, that's to declutter first. If you don't get rid of clutter and you're trying to organize a whole bunch of clutter, it's just gonna be a mess. And trust me, I know that from like personal experience, because I tried to do that in the past. I felt like, you know, if I get just the right storage system, then I could get really organized and everything would be perfect. And I would try that, and you know, I would get it organized, but then it would quickly just fall back into a messy area back again, because when you have too much stuff that you're trying to organize, it's just never gonna work. It's just always gonna get jumbled up again. It's not gonna have a proper space to go, because there's only so much space you have in your house, and if we fill it all up, then it's just going to be overwhelming, and we're not going to be able to stay on top of it, because we'll simply have too much to manage. We already have so much on our plate, and I'm sure you do as well. And so the less stuff that we have to manage, the easier it will be. The less time we'll spend cleaning and organizing, and the more time we'll have doing the things that actually matter to us. So before you try any of these systems, do declutter first. Get rid of anything that you're not really using, you don't need right now. If it's something that you think you will use like in the next year or so, then maybe put it in storage, in a storage bin somewhere outside, like out of reach. And in your daily space, keep the things that you're actually using right now, and I promise that will make a huge difference to not only how your house looks, but how it feels and, you know, your mental state. And it's going to change your feeling when you walk through your front door. Instead of seeing this big mess, you're gonna feel more of a relief, right? Because you're in your calm space, it's not that big of a mess. And even if there's a few things on the floor, it's easy to tidy up because you know where they all go, and it just makes a huge difference. I do hope this was helpful, and I hope you are having a lovely day. Bye guys.